I've never believed in ghosts or spirits. I mean, who does, right? I was a rational guy, but everything changed when I moved into that old house on the edge of town. I wasn't thinking clearly when I signed the lease. The place was cheap, run down, perfect for a broke guy like me. It was an old two-story with wood floors that creaked and windows that never quite closed right, but it didn't bother me until the shadow appeared. It started small, with things out of place. My car keys would vanish, then show up in the fridge. I'd hear faint whispers when I was trying to sleep, but I brushed it off as the house settling. Then one night, I was in the living room, scrolling on my phone, when I saw it. A shadow, long and dark, moved across the window. It wasn't just a trick of the light, it was moving, like a person crossing the yard. I felt my heart race. I walked over to the window, my hands trembling. I pulled back the curtain and looked outside. No one was there, nothing. The yard was empty. I even went outside to check, convinced I had seen something outside in the dark, but nothing. Nothing at all. That night, the whispers got worse. They weren't whispers anymore. They were voices, clear and distinct. They called my name. James, James. My own name, but with a sinister edge, like someone was right behind me, breathing down my neck. I froze, afraid to turn around, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. The next night, I stayed up late, my mind racing. Then out of nowhere, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, like someone was walking on the second floor. I got up, grabbed a knife from the kitchen, and crept upstairs. The door to the master bedroom was open. I was sure I had closed it earlier. Inside, I saw something I'll never forget, a figure standing in the middle of the room. It was tall, its silhouette dark and unnerving, but I couldn't make out any details. It felt like I was looking at nothing, just an absence, a void. Then it spoke, and I froze. "You shouldn't have come here." And then it moved. Not like a normal person, it was wrong. Its arms were too long, its legs too bent, its head twisting unnaturally, snapping to face me. I turned to run, but as I did, I felt the cold, empty air. The same thing that had been standing behind me, and it was so close I could feel its breath on my neck. I didn't sleep that night or the night after. I moved out as fast as I could, but before I left, I passed by the hallway mirror, and in the reflection, standing behind me, was the same figure, the same void, the same empty space. And that's when I realized the thing I'd seen in the window, it was never outside, it was inside. And I wasn't seeing shadows, I was seeing my own reflection. But not me. It wasn't me in the mirror. It wasn't me in the house. It was something else that had taken my place. The figure in the mirror, it was the real me. I never believed in the supernatural. That's the first thing I want to get across. I always thought people who said they saw ghosts or heard voices were just imagining things. But after that night, I can't ignore it. Not anymore. I had just moved into an old apartment on the edge of town. It was cheap, a little rundown, but nothing I couldn't handle. The first week was uneventful, but then the whispers started. At first, I thought it was just the building settling. Then one night, as I was watching TV, I heard it clear as day. Mark, it wasn't loud, but it was unmistakable. My name. I stood up, frozen, and looked around. No one was there. The room was silent. I told myself I was just tired, that I was imagining things. But it happened again the next night, and the next. The voice started getting louder, more insistent. Sometimes it would call to me from the other room, sometimes from behind the walls. Every time I heard it, I felt this icy cold spread over me. I felt like someone was standing right behind me, but when I turned, nothing was there. One night, I woke up to the sound of my name being called again. "Mark, come here!" But this time, the voice was different. It wasn't just calling me, it was commanding me. I got up, too terrified to ignore it. The voice led me into the hallway. It was dark, the only light coming from the dim glow of the street lamp outside the window. My heart pounded in my chest as I walked toward the bathroom. When I opened the door, I froze. There, standing in front of the mirror, was a figure. It looked just like me, but wrong. Its face was pale, its eyes wide and lifeless. It smiled at me, not like I would smile, but like it was mocking me. Then in a voice that wasn't mine, it whispered, "I've been waiting for you. You don't belong here anymore." And just as I tried to turn and run, I heard the voice again. But this time, it wasn't calling me from the other room. It was coming from the mirror. It wasn't me in the reflection anymore. The thing in the mirror had replaced me. I ran out of that apartment without looking back. I moved into a new place. I even changed my phone number, hoping to start fresh. But now every time I pass a mirror, I feel it, that presence, that thing watching me from behind my own face, just waiting for the right moment to take me again. I think it's still following me, and it knows my name. I shouldn't have taken that job. Looking back, it's clear I was too naive. I thought it was just another easy gig, babysitting for a rich couple with two well-behaved kids in a big isolated house. I didn't know what was waiting for me. The parents were super nice. They left for a dinner party telling me the kids would be in bed soon. Timmy, the 6-year-old, was hyper, bouncing off the walls, but his little sister Lily was quiet, too quiet, almost unnervingly so. She wouldn't make eye contact, just stared off into space, whispering things to herself. "He's waiting," she said once. I thought she was just playing around, maybe pretending to be afraid. But then Timmy started acting strange too. He kept asking me to look out the window. "He's out there. He can see you," he'd say over and over. I thought it was just kids being kids, making up stories. But when I went to the window, I felt something was wrong. The yard was empty, but I swear I saw something or someone standing in the distance. The figure didn't move. It just stared. I felt this icy dread settle into my chest, but I shrugged it off. I didn't want to seem scared in front of them. That's when I heard it, the sound of dragging, scraping across the floor. I turned to Timmy and Lily. They were both staring at the corner of the living room, their faces pale, their eyes wide. "He's here," Lily whispered. "He's always been here." The air grew cold and I felt the weight of something heavy pressing down on me. I turned toward the hallway. There, standing at the end of it, was a figure, tall, gaunt, its face a twisted mess of eyes and jagged teeth. It was smiling at me, but there was no warmth in it. It was a smile of hunger. It reached its hand out, and I could hear its voice, deep and guttural. "You shouldn't have come." It lunged toward me, but before it could reach me, Timmy and Lily's voices rang out. "No, don't touch her," they screamed. The figure stopped and turned to them, and that's when I saw it. Their eyes, black, empty, hollow. They weren't children. They were something else. And that thing, it wasn't chasing me. It was protecting them. I don't know how, but somehow those kids had become it. They were one with it. The last thing I remember was hearing Timmy's voice, soft and sweet as he whispered, "You're going to stay with us now." And then, nothing. When the police found the house there,